going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is not the Philly Talk podcast. It is Goat Talk, the podcast. And the reason we're late is my fault. And kind of LB too, because next week we're going to talk about the top 10 wide receivers. We're going to have our list. Hopefully you got yours. But we had a little heated debate, so it's going to be a fire show next week. It was all smiles. But LB, how you feeling today?
I can't complain, bro. And I just want everybody out there to know that is probably the hardest list in football to make right now. That and quarterbacks. You know what I mean? So y'all gonna be shocked about my list, but it is what it is, man. Also, we want to remind you guys, make sure you tap in with Big Print Champs. Get all your Philly Dogs gear, Mike putting on, get your ski mask, Howie, your hurt season, all that good stuff. You already know the vibes with that, man. I can't complain. It's a beautiful Saturday, and we're ready to talk these OTAs and all this stuff circulating around Jalen Hurts, man.
Big facts. And like we said backstage, and we said it a little bit last week's show, there's really 17 players that deserve top 10 mentions. It's just you can only fit 10 in the top 10. It is what it is. Back in the 90s, I don't even think you need to go as deep as 10. It was like top 7, and then the rest of the guys were just okay dude. So the sport has evolved for skill position. You know, there was the Jerry Rices back in the day, the Randy Mosses, but like a lot of talent. That's where we at right now. But let's start with some OTAs. What jumped out to you just by hearing the beat writers talk about getting eyes on the players while they're on the field? What jumped out to you throughout this whole public OTA practice?
Honestly, for me now, it's probably going to be out of the norm for what most people would say. Honestly, it's the punt return situation and the kick return situation. I like the reports that we were getting that we had like four different guys trying their hand. Olamide Zaccheaus, Quez was back there, Covey, and I can't remember who the fourth guy was.
Rambo. Punt return? No, I don't know who. I don't
right. I don't think it was a running back. I don't think it was Boston Scott. But it was Greg Ward Jr. That's who it was. So, you know, it's good to see that, you know, we're trying different options out back there because that was a point of emphasis. But other than that, man, to me, man, it got to be just the transformation of Jordan Davis. I know you talked about that, but that boy look in shape, Mike. You saw the
short. You saw the short, right?
I saw the short.
The before and after the buffet
right. I saw the short. It looked like he dropped 25 pounds. It looked like he leaned up. It looked like his conditioning is there. And it looked like, you know, he may be taking some of these things a little personal that people may be saying about his quote unquote red shirt season. So I like to see that, man. Then you bring in guys he's familiar with. You know what I mean? I told people drafting Jalen Carter would bring the best out of Jordan Davis in all areas of his game. They're going to bring the best out of each other. They got to be that duo for the future, similar to what you see in Washington with those guys, Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen on the front line over there. So, you know, that definitely impressed me so far. And just how the newer guys are just so outspoken about, you know, Jalen Hurts and, you know, his leadership skills and things of that nature. So it was a lot to take away from that, man. What about you? What did you really hone in on that was important out of that live practice?
To be honest, because it was, you know, we're not even talking training camp yet. I'm holding in on the Quez Watkins catching the ball a lot. You know what I mean? I'm going to die on this. Me and Quez are going to go out together. We're either going to thrive together or we're going to go out together. Again, I do believe he deserves criticism for, you know, dropping the ball in the Super Bowl and some of the things last year. But I do think that he's went about it the right way. A little bit of attitude, a little bit of self-reflection. And so to me, a guy who started from the bottom already, who got knocked back down to the bottom, I think he's going to get up. I just think it's in his character. And so until that day comes, I'm going to rock with him. So I'm glad he's catching the ball. And again, little things. Again, we're talking about professionals. They're going to catch the ball. But at least while you're in practice the outstretched catches, right? Because if you drop a ball in practice, it's okay. If you drop a ball on Sunday, it's different. And so don't be catching to your body. Like, that's what you want to do. But I want him to practice the hard ones in practice. And so I'm glad that he's catching passes. Let me stop saying catching balls. Pause. Y'all right. Y'all be killing me with that. So that's what I'll take from it. And also, like you said, Jordan Davis, the transformation, at least on the field. And I do like this, as you pointed out, not only is he talking about what he needs to be better at, and he said that he thought watching himself, he was raw last year, and he was still disruptive when on the field. So if he's raw, maybe I got to say pause again, getting his technique down better is going to be great. All that being said, though, you mentioned it. He said multiple times he don't want to be looked at by the rookies like he's not doing his job, right? So bringing in Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, younger guys from Georgia, especially Carter, who plays the same position, he said he don't want to be the guy who makes the coach says, oh, do it over. You got to work on your technique in front of these young bucks. So that itself is pushing them, like you said. And we about to have some scary D tackles. The future looks great, not only for 2023, but if it really goes the way we believe, you're talking about a decade of greatness following Fletch.
Right. And you know, that's a good thing. And even this is what people are missing about these young guys that are coming in. The guys that we expect to be impact players for a long time, the Nolan Smiths, the Jalen Carters and Jordan Davis, those guys in particular. Look at who they go up against every day in practice. They're going up against Hall of Fame talent. They're going up against Landon Dickerson. Like the Eagles might got the best left side in the National Football League. Let's keep it a bean. Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata. Then you're going up against Kelsey. You're going up against Lane Johnson, who don't be giving up sacks to guys like Micah Parsons. You know what I mean? So you got, you know what I mean? It's the facts. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to learn from those guys. You know what I mean? Those guys know every trick in the book. So if you having the field day against those guys in practice, it's only going to push you. You know what I mean? And I like to contribute some of, you know, what Hassan Reddick brought to the table was, you know, he never go against guys like that every day in practice. You know what I mean? And it helped him mature on the field as well, even at his age. So, yeah, man, these guys are just set up to succeed on the defensive trenches or in the interior for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I can't wait to see these guys on the field.
Yeah, great points. We heard, again, offensive linemen and defensive linemen are not as outspoken as wide receiver and cornerbacks, right? But we've heard from Devontae Smith, going against these boys in practice, Darius Slay and James Bradbury, that makes us better, and vice versa. Darius Slay said it multiple times, having to guard the Batmans definitely keep them on their A game. And so that's the outspoken part, right? Cornerbacks, wide receivers, the divas of the NFL, blah, blah, blah. But you're right. Hassan Reddick has had double-digit sacks everywhere he went. True, but still close to that double digits. We're talking 10 and 12 and 11. He broke out his best season. Why? You know what I mean? Yeah, he's been in the league league a couple years, and he's got more stuff in his bag. But it could just be going up against this offensive line for a season in practice. Again, iron sharpen iron. And so, man, these guys are suited best for the future, and the future's got to come soon though, because we are going to expect some big minutes and big snaps in 2023 from both Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter.
Did you see it as a surprise that Nakobe Dean was going to be the green dot? Like that, no. that just makes sense, right? You know, when you talk about intellectually, you know what I mean, these guys coming out of college, nobody talked about, you know what I mean, Nakobe Dean more on the intellectual side. So now he's had that year to get his body in better shape. You know what I mean? He was the green dot in practice last year. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't remember, like when as a rookie, they tried him out as the green dot. So this is all a full circle moment for Nakobe Dean. You know what I mean? I can't help but think Nakobe Dean is going to end up being a top 10 guy at his position.
He has all the makings for sure. Again, you're talking about off the field, the way he carries himself. And then again, small sample size, 34 snaps to be exact. But we saw see ball, get ball. And again, Jordan Davis might never flash with, you know, double-digit sacks. Even though I do think with what he's been working on, he's going to bring more to the table via pass rush than people think. I've always thought that eventually he was going to be something, but he's a big nose tackle and he takes up 2 blocks. And Nakobe Dean is going to be that guy who does not miss his gap, does not miss his assignment. And if Jordan Davis does what he does, Nakobe Dean's going to do what he did. And I'm going to say this right now. How many sacks did TJ Edwards have last year? Do you know? Probably 3 or 5 or 3 or 4?
I don't think he had 4. I think he might have had like 3 or 2 or 3.
Somebody in the chat, let us know how many sacks TJ Edwards had. I know he had a couple. I'm going to say this. I do like Nakobe Dean under Sean Desai to be that guy who does blitz, not often. You know, he might get, 20 blitzes the whole season, but I think he's going to have more sacks than any of the linebackers we had last year. And I just see him causing a lot of mayhem at the line of scrimmage, playing behind this D tackle, this defensive line and this DT room. for sure.
Right, and there are some things that he may still have to work on, but that would have been corrected on the field. You know what I mean? I can't even tell you what he needs to work on. I just know from the tape that I watched, if you put N'Kobe Dean on that boundary side, the hash line marker closest to out of bounds, he's almost elite over there already. You know what I mean? His understanding of the game is just already at a new level. N'Kobe Dean wasn't on the field because he wasn't good enough. We just
Correct.
had the luxury of having players who were ready to play. You know what I mean? Who were already developed. Who you know what I mean? And then when you're 9-0, you don't make no switch nowhere on the field anyway. You know what I mean? So I'm real. N'Kobe Dean. This is going to be the year of N'Kobe, man. I'm telling you, the league about to be put on notice of N'Kobe Dean. I could just feel it. I can just feel it. We haven't heard much about the cornerbacks, though. You know what I mean? There's a lot of competitions to be had there as well. You got your veterans that's already going to start. Who are you looking to make an impact in the cornerback room outside of Bradbury and Slay? Who can be that guy as far as cornerbacks go for us next year? Or Deron Bland, if you will.
The Deron Bland. Listen, I have high hopes for Ringo. I think he's going to be more of a developmental guy. Again, he's made big plays in championship games. And shout out to the chat. It's 2 sacks for TJ Edwards.
Yeah, I thought
shout
it was
out to y'all. Y'all know
3.
y'all stuff. Y'all should be up here. But at the end of the day, Ringo, I think, has all the makings to be a stud cornerback. I just think he needs to work on some fine things. But Greedy Williams is young. He's been in the NFL, but I think this is his his comeback season in the sense that he was drafted high. He was highly touted out of college. He played really good. At one time, he was big news over there in Cleveland. Now, I know they got Denzel Ward, and he's a beast too, but Greedy suffered from injuries. But when this man's healthy, he was one of the top dogs over there in Cleveland. And so I think this is his revenge season, comeback season. He's working with 2 great corners, different. Slay more of a technician, uses his speed. Bradbury more of a physical guy. So I really do think Greedy Williams is going to get the most out of it. And if he comes in some big nickel snaps or some dime snaps where it's Slay, Bradbury, Maddox, and now you bring in that 4th guy who plays inside, outside, but the guy's inside, but he's not going to really run a slot route. He might go up the seam. I think Greedy Williams is going to be good. And I do love the whole youngster group, right? I'm going to count Ringo in a youngster group because I do love him. And then Josh Jobe and Eli Ricks. These are young guys that I think that, as much as we love Bradbury and Slay, they only got but 3 and 2 years on their deal. And I don't see them really playing for the Eagles after that because now you're talking about 35 plus, right? So we do have an opportunity to make maybe a draft or 2 at cornerback early in the next couple years, but I think the Eagles are going to be picking close to last for the next 2 to 3 years. That being said, Eli Ricks, Josh Jobe, Keely Ringo, 2-3 years, it's your job. And we got a lot of great young competition. You're right about that.
That's a good point, though, because, Howie Roseman is smart, man. And and more, I'm starting to see how Howie Roseman does these things. No, you could sneeze at, you could be like, oh, who cares about Eli Ricks, Greedy Williams, and these guys? We got Slay and Bradbury, but you're not going to have them forever. You know what I mean? Imagine how good Eli Ricks could be with 2 years under his belt. He was really good in college. You know what I mean? He was really talented in college. Imagine how good Keely Ringo could be with 2 years of knowing the game under his belt. You know what I mean? Being taught by these guys and watching the game and learning. So the replacements could already be in-house. You know what I mean? Just like the replacement for Fletcher Cox was already in-house with Jordan Davis. The replacement for TJ Edwards was already in-house. So the Philadelphia Eagles necessarily, in a way, don't really draft for the now. We draft for long-term success while having the guys that have these starting roles be able to play at the highest levels in the game. So yeah, this thing is set up beautifully, man. But the cornerback position, yes, a lot of competition and talent right there. Do you think we got enough of that going on at the linebacker spot, competition and talent wise?
Nah, that is the one spot I think that if Howie makes a move in the upcoming months, or once we see these 1,500 players get cut at the same time, because there's no more cutting in levels. It's just bada bing, bada boom. One day you cut them all, get down to your 53-man roster. I think that's where we're going to attack, because there could be a team in the league right now that got like 6 decent linebackers, to where, like, I'm not talking superstar. There's 6 guys ain't their superstar, but a guy who can come in and have competition with Nicholas Morrow, Sean Bradley, Davion Taylor, and company. So I'm looking at it like that's where I think Howie's got to look at. I ain't mad if he does something at safety too, because you know, if he brings somebody in at safety, it's not going to be some. He's not going to bring in another C+ player for safety. Like we got enough of them, and Kevon Wallace, Justin Evans. If he goes safety, it's Kevin Byard, it's Buda Baker, it's big Howie Roseman moves. But I do think linebacker is something that Howie's waiting and going to fill. I don't think he does not sign somebody in the linebacker, another linebacker before the season. I think that's going to happen. I just don't know when and who. But I think it's more of a sign. Like, I think he's going to wait for these 1,500 people to get cut. I know we all like the Isaiah Simmons and the Patrick Queens, and I think that, you know, you got to trade there. You do have leverage, though, trying to talk with Baltimore. Like, listen, do you want this fifth round pick or fourth round pick or not? Because he's going to leave you. You didn't extend him. So why let him walk for free? You could take this fourth round pick off or fifth round pick. So it won't be a lot, but I do think it's going to be more of a sign. Linebacker, you need some depth there.
I agree. What's going on with Davion Taylor, though, man? What's up with him? Is he injured or not? Because I feel like Davion Taylor just need to get on the field, and I feel like you could really know. I really think he got that type of game. You know what I mean? He was looking good up until he got hurt.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on with him? He's still hurt. He's still rehabbing it.
I don't know the exact story, but he was on our practice squad. So the Eagles did not just cut him and let him go, right? He was a fourth round pick by the Eagles. I had him on a channel, and it was crazy because he literally said that, like, his agent was telling him that he was going to go. His agent was telling him that he's going to go in the 6th round, if that, right? He got that call from the Eagles in the 4th round, and he was excited. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know why he admitted it to me, but, he straight said it on the video. And so we drafted him not off his production at college because he didn't play that much. It was the potential. It was the 4.3 speed. It was see ball, get ball. You know what I mean? And we thought we could develop him. And I thought, like you said, he's had some good showings when on the field. It's just about being healthy. But there's a reason we kept him on a practice squad. So it's now or never. With the linebacker room being this thin, before Howie makes his move, because I do think a move's going to be made, you better be showing out, showing why we don't need another linebacker. You know what I mean?
Right, because I feel like Sean Bradley, it's time for him to show something. You know what I mean? I feel like it's time for Davion Taylor to show something. I feel like it's time for some of these guys who have just been lingering around on the practice squad. They got to get elevated and they got to get thrown in that fire to see if they really can make this roster. Same thing with Kevon Wallace, man. We got some young guys that we just been straggling along with. I don't know what the love affair is with Greg Ward. You know what I mean? Greg Ward not even fast enough to be returning kicks. You know what I mean? If you feel like you were just trying to find a spot for character guys. No, we're trying to win a Super Bowl, bro. I love G Ward. Don't get it messed up. I love Kevon Wallace. I think Kevon Wallace is actually getting better. But, I get it. Some of these guys are special teams, maestros as well. So there really is a spot for them on the team. But that one more splash, you know what I mean? Buda Baker would be the icing on the cake, bro. You know what I mean? I really think it's a possibility. I'm all for it if you can get Buda Baker, but I don't think we need much. You know what I mean? And I'm comfortable with knowing if you don't make a move at linebacker, you still gonna win a division. That's how good I think this football team is, even if you don't make a move at linebacker. But when you make a move at linebacker to shore up that linebacker position, you're showing that you want to go for it all, like we always been showing the last couple of years.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it was nice to know, and I got a lot of love and respect for Greg Ward because former quarterback, he caught a couple great balls, great passes, in his time with the Eagles, especially when we were wide receiver-less. Like we were desperate, right? We were converting tight ends to wide receiver. Josh Perkins played wide receiver for us. We were signing guys off the streets. But last year showed our wide receiver core got so deep that we love them, we respect them, but you got to be on the practice squad. So I'm glad to know that Greg Ward, who's old reliable, let's call him, right, is now on the practice squad because we got receivers. You know what I mean?
Right. So it's definitely a huge turnaround from where we were when he was, winning ball games for us, helping us get to when he was winning ball games for us, helping us get to the playoffs. So yeah, having Greg Ward, and he got Greg Ward, he's a vet now, you know what I mean? So it makes sense, you bring in a character guy like that. But kick and punt return, man, I just want to see Boston Scott back there. I just feel like that's truly our best position to have him in, especially what you see how Swift is looking, man. Swift looks good. I haven't seen that. I've never seen that movement. Like, he ain't even do nothing. All he doing is moving. I have not seen that movement, bruh. Pause. You feel me though? Just seeing him on the field, the way he cut, the way he catch the ball, tuck it, turn it upfield. We ain't had that in the backfield since Shady, bruh. He's the most talented wide receiver the Philadelphia Eagles have had since LaShawn McCoy. I mean, this is really right. You're running back. Yeah, this is really exciting. So yeah, I mean, we ain't gonna forget about Swift and what we saw from him.
Nah, again, like you said, I don't want to discredit what Miles Sanders did running the ball, but as you just said, that little crispy route, and it's nothing, right? I be using that in Madden sometimes. You know what I mean? Send Dallas Goedert up the scene
and run that angle with the running back
angle route. Now Sanders, he
be
be
pick
catching,
6 a tree.
He be catching on Madden, but it's a video game. You know what I mean?
Right.
But Swift, man, like I said, just his stutter step. And look, there's an old school video. I'm gonna be using it in my in one of my upcoming videos. But when he was with Detroit, he put out a workout video, like you know how people post videos on their IGs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's old, so it's not like he did this with the Eagles. And I wasn't gonna try to portray it as that. But man, he was running routes just with like somebody throwing in the offseason to him, and it's crispy, bro. I'm talking comebacks, I'm talking post routes, I'm talking you need it. He got it in his route tree, and they were crispy. His footwork is crazy, and so I can't wait to see the combination of Swift, Kenny, and man, we forget. I think Eagle Nation, including myself a little bit, we're sleeping on Penny. Again, it's all about the health factor with Penny, but he's our biggest back.
Swift too, you know what I mean? It's all about the health factor for Swift too. So you know, if both of those guys can't stay healthy, we in trouble. We're in trouble. That, you know what I mean? You in trouble. Let's be real about this. You know what I mean? These guys have had lengthy injury histories, both of them. If both of these guys are not healthy, you in trouble. You know what I mean? You in trouble.
What's the best way to keep two injured players from not being injured? Put them together
and have them split time, right? Have them split some time. Break the time down in thirds. Give Gainwell some of that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think they're gonna be. I think they'll be okay, man. I think they'll be okay.
Sometimes,
go ahead. My bad. I was about to get into that Jalen Hurts, Russell Wilson thing.
Oh yeah, that's coming next. But like I was gonna say real quick, sometimes all you need is a change of scenery. I've seen it multiple times with Eagle players who are always injured going someone else and being healthy, and vice versa, right? Landon Dickerson, knock on fake wood, could not stay healthy in college. He got hurt almost every year in college. Every year. So far, so good with the Eagles. Change of scenery, right? Jordan Hicks could not stay healthy with the Eagles. Goes to Arizona. One of the best linebackers in the game for at least 1 year, right? He was a top 7, top 10 linebacker one of these years. So sometimes that's all it takes is a change of scenery.
AJ Brown, career year, change of scenery. AJ Brown.
Correct, right? People were talking about he was low-key injury prone and blah, 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 because he
played
got
every game,
didn't he?
Him and Smitty both played every game, man. People don't understand how.
No, go ahead.
I was saying people don't understand how fortunate we are that neither one of those guys had to miss a game.
What do we have in the Super Bowl? Every single starter healthy. That's hard to do. That's hard.
It's very hard to do, man, especially with this physical style that we were playing. You know, and I feel like, you know, this is again a testament to Howie Roseman, because we got backup. Like we got, bro, Olamide Zaccheaus and Quez Watkins are good. Yeah, they're both like good wide receivers in the National Football League. You know what I mean? I don't know who's going to win that battle, because also out of OTAs, I like how we're already using Olamide Zaccheaus in like those little bubble screens. He's a yak guy. He's a bigger guy. You know what I mean? He can run the route tree too. But, you know, I really don't know who's going to win this one, Mike. You know, I'm 50-50, and I'm a Quez guy. I just feel I'm strong about Olamide, man. I'm strong about it because he's physical. He could block. He's physical. Right. I think you can hand him the ball in the backfield. Like he's like one of those guys located. Right. You know what I mean? He's physical. So we're gonna see how it pans out.
Yeah, and you mentioned this on last week's episode. Devontae Smith was even talking about how he gets yak after the catch and blah blah blah. So I mean, if you're making Smitty look around, that's good to me. I did want to say there was one thing I wanted to say. About AJ Brown before we go to the Jalen Hurts news. AJ Brown had one game where he had 0 yards. Or wait, was it 0 or 7? It was the game that he got hurt, but he stayed in the whole time. I think it was against. Who was it against?
Was it a division game?
I'm not even sure. Hey, chat, let us know. There was one game where AJ had either 0 yards or 7 yards. Like it was one catch for 7 yards. Because I know Titan fans were laughing. It wasn't against the Titans because he balled out then. But Titan fans that still follow him were all like,
so must have been early in the season then.
Not the Bears.
Who we play? Who we play week 2?
Nah, he balled the first couple weeks. It might have been Washington the second time. Yes, Washington the second time when we lost.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Yeah.
Shout out to Fly Parks. It was Washington the second time when we lost. He got hurt early. He caught the ball for 7 yards, 1 catch, 7 yards, tweaked his ankle, played the rest of the game. But think this man almost put up 1,500 yards, and he damn near took a game off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He played. He didn't miss the game, but you know what I mean. He took a game off. That one catch, 7 yards. Man,
that's what impressed me about Smitty's season. Smitty got like 3 games like that. He got like 3 where he almost was not week 1. He didn't do anything. Right, that's what I'm saying. Week 1 he was like non-existent, bro. And it's crazy because Jalen Hurts was spreading that rock around.
Yo, that was the whole. You know how the national media is, and how sometimes Eagle fans and just NFL. It was like week 1 we got the dub, but Smitty had like 3 or 4 targets and 0 catches, and the whole world was like, "Oh no, we don't. What's wrong with Devontae Smith?" And then he finished in number 9 in the NFL. You know what I mean?
And then the very next week, I think in that Vikings game, I think he cooked them. I think Smitty and Quez cooked them. AJ didn't have to do nothing week 2. He basically took week 2 off.
It's eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Someone's going to get theirs. But, yo, just think about it. He finished and listen, again, just a little sprinkles for the wide receiver talk next week. Devontae Smith took a game off. Didn't have no yards week 1.
You know what? I think
still finished inside the top 10.
Right. Cole Cowboy in the chat. He says Smitty was sick. I know AJ ate something bad that Washington game. So I don't even think he was injured. I think he had like a stomach bug or something. But he did come up a little gimpy too. So yeah, he had a bad day.
Hey,
he wasn't 100%.
It happens. But when they have a good days, both of them have games of 150 plus on their resume in 2022.
Smitty had a $150 on who?
Didn't he have it against Washington? When we were there.
The game we was there. He cooked them, bro. He
had 100 at halftime.
Yeah, he had a buck at the half on them. I remember that, bro. Because remember he caught a bomb and almost went out of bounds. Then Jalen did the hurry up play and he scored. Yeah. I had him on my fantasy that week too. He cooked them, bro.
He cooked. Oh, remember that? He was didn't he receive a punt too? You were like, yo, cut it out.
Right. I'm like, Mike, it's my eyes because there was a lot going on. I was seeing all type of stuff. It was a lot going on for me that day. But I'm like, Mike, dude, my eyes deceived me. Like, what we doing out here? You know what I mean?
Thanks.
But it was crazy, man. It's crazy. And to see that person in person, to see the kind of athlete he is just ridiculous.
A $169 versus the Commanders.
Fried them.
And listen, my man showed up to the Super Bowl in sweats and dropped a 100-piece on him. That's all I'm going to say for that. Let's talk about this hurt stuff, right? Because like the narrative out there is like the Eagles wanted to trade for Russell Wilson, blah, blah, blah. They didn't. And the narrative is that we did not believe in Jalen Hurts at all. Like, he's not just talking about us fans. He's talking about the front office. I think you said it one time. Having a young quarterback like Jalen Hurts, who even if you believe in, if there's a guy like Aaron Rodgers, if there's a guy like Russell Wilson prior to last year, you know, you're always going to, even Deshaun Watson, you're always going to think about it. It's a business at the end of the day. Listen, Howie Roseman crosses his T's and dots his I on any player that's available. So to act like thinking about Russell Wilson is just having no faith in Jalen Hurts, that's lies. But we did dodge a bullet. What's your take on that whole scenario?
So you gotta go. So I went into it a little deeper. I was thinking about this earlier today. I did a video on it earlier, actually. You know, first you got to look at the organization. You got to look at the quarterbacks and look at the organization. When you look at Jalen Hurts, you could just rule out the fact that people are trying to say we didn't believe in him. Well, we drafted him in the second round. That lets you know the belief that we already have in this young man. Then let's look at the organization again. Howie Roseman has been kicking himself his entire career over missing on Russell Wilson. You know what I mean? Howie Roseman wanted to draft Russell Wilson. Howie Roseman has been documented saying that he believes Jalen Hurts is Russell Wilson 2.0. So now you're sitting here with a quarterback who just gave you his first start. You know he might got some things he need to work on. He took you to the postseason. You know what I mean? You got 3 first-round picks, and Russell Wilson is available. The guy that you've been wanting since you've ever laid eyes on him, type of situation. So it don't surprise me if the Philadelphia Eagles put a bid in for Russell Wilson. I think we also put one in for Aaron Rodgers. We were just looking to see what we could do at the quarterback position. And, you know, listen, if the Eagles would have done that, the franchise would have went backwards for sure, because you don't have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. You might not even have A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is here because he wanted to play with Jalen Hurts. You know what I mean?
You don't even have Jalen Hurts at this point, and he's better than Russell Wilson right now.
That's what I'm saying. You will be down bad tremendously. I think BG would have retired. You know what I mean? No, seriously, think about this.
Kelsey too. He'd have been
Kelsey
like, out.
Right. Kelsey and BG, you know, potentially would have been gone. Only thing that's keeping these guys around is the Super Bowl window, for real. Fletcher Cox would have signed somewhere else. Slay would have packed up. Bradbury would have packed up. Bradbury would have never been here. You know what I mean? Probably. Slay and you know what I mean? Slay would have packed it up last year.
Howie would have got fired.
Right. You know what I mean? It would have been, the trickle down effect would have been enormous. It would have been enormous. And then listen, the right move was made by the Philadelphia Eagles, man. The right move was made. Do I believe they had an offer in for Russell Wilson? Yeah, Howie Roseman loves Russell Wilson. But, you know, building a team, I think ultimately came down for building the roster and seeing what you can get out of Hurts. Because you still stashed the pick anyway. So we would have been good regardless had we needed to move up this year. You know what I mean? It is what it is, though, man. I think, you know, we're relieved that it worked out. We paid our guy, you know what I mean? And we here to stay.
Yeah, man, I think you explained it perfectly, right? Like Russell Wilson was the girl who got away to Howie Roseman and Pauls, right? It was like, you know, and so drafting Jalen as early as second when critics said, you took Jalen Hurts way too early. He would have been there in the 3rd or 4th round. That right there shows the belief. You know, getting rid of your franchise guy that you paid. And I know Carson Wentz went down the rabbit hole, but, you know, you can like once you see that season that he had for us, you know, he could have persuaded Howie, or Howie could have said, you know what, maybe he has one more comeback season in him, right? So to get rid of Carson Wentz, to draft him in the 2nd round, all shows how much they believed in Jalen Hurts. You're absolutely right. I think it's being spun out of whack. And the fact is, though, thank God we didn't. Because, look, again, maybe Russell Wilson comes back. But going off last year, this is why we are more tough to Dak Prescott. More tough this year, this offseason, than previous is. Because we've both said on here that Dak has had good seasons, right? Mm-hmm. We both said that Russell Wilson was top 5 for a while. But last year, Russell Wilson was a disaster. He had a good offense. He had a team over there in Denver. He blew it. You know what I mean? And so maybe he kicks up. He's going to be on Denver's roster for a while because they owe him a lot of money. But, man, you're talking about, like you said, the draftees we picked, not here. Jalen, who was part of us winning as much as we did, he didn't get that whole Jalen got carried to the Super Bowl was a lie. There was games that Jalen carried his team. But, man, even Howie, getting rid of Jalen. Imagine if Jalen took Denver to the playoffs last year. Howie would have, and we love Howie. And at one time, you know, 3 years ago, we were on maybe let's get rid of Howie type movement. But you're talking about draftees, our franchise guy that we just paid, and the best general manager not being here off of one move that could have just changed the landscape of everything. We would have been the Giants for the next 5 years.
Right. And the move wasn't up to us. The move was pending what Russell Wilson wanted to do. You know what I mean? Because he had a no trade clause. He denied us and decided to go to Denver. Denver is probably a bigger football market, whatever the case may be. Maybe he wanted to stay that way. You know what I mean? What is that, Midwest or wherever? Because he was already in Seattle. So, it is what it is, man. It's one of the best bullets that we ever dodged because Russell Wilson's a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been mad at Russell Wilson coming here. I would have understood it because you got to take those chances. You know what I mean? Because Russell Wilson is the type of guy that you give that money to, and you don't need all those other pieces. You know what I mean? Now you figured out that you got that guy and Jalen Hurts, and you got all the pieces. So you basically doubled down. You know what I mean? So listen, Jalen Hurts, he showed so much last year that this story coming out now was kind of baloney, if you ask me, because we heard this before. We already knew last year we offered him a deal and he turned it down. This ain't breaking news.
I know, right? But in the mix, in the middle of no football, the driest part of the off season, it makes big headlines because it's being announced or talked about or re-talked about where there's no football, there's no other exciting news. I will say this though, that happened yesterday, and today Dove Kleiman, he got probably 300K followers on Twitter. He said, report, the Eagles strongly believe that Jalen Hurts is not only going to be as good as he was last year, but take another huge step, right? So I'm glad this news came out. And listen, this is where I just look at some people who argue about Jalen Hurts, right? Like, what did the numbers say? What did the stats say? At the end of the day, his game was supposed to be he's a running back. He's a running quarterback. Then why is he number 1 in passer rating, number 1 in completion percentage, and number 2 in yards per attempt, all from the pocket? Now, again, he's not number 1 in completion percentage with every throw, but the throws that he's not supposed to be good at from the pocket, he's number 1 and number 2 in the main categories. That being said, there's room for growth. Like, is Jalen Hurts the best perfect player in the? No, he made mistakes.
Nobody is though.
Exactly. He's 24, man. He's gonna get better.
Nobody is, and I can already see the next step, taking place as we speak. As good as his season was last year, I can't help but look at when he throws the ball in OTAs and in these videos, these small clips, these small sample sizes that we're seeing, that is a much improved throwing motion. Still, the throw motion got better from last year, to the point that I see him throwing the ball right now. Mentally, I don't think as much of a level he can gain mentally. But I just think understanding the game, I think the game is getting slower and slower for him, and he's always making the right play. Let's think about this for a second. He was top 10 in yards, you know what I mean? Top 6 in interceptions, you know what I mean? He threw 6. He was 4th in that and 4th in QBR. A lot of people want to say that these other guys who are statistically, driven with stats push a lot of these guys' name. But what a lot of people don't understand is that, impact on the field has a reason to do why Jalen Hurts is being as respected as he's being respected. You could look at 3,700 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, and laugh and think that it's a game. But when you add in that this guy did, listen, Dak Prescott first 3 years in the season, I'm gonna use him because he got a lengthy track record. His first 3 years in the season, he didn't throw for 300 passing yards. You know what I mean? They talked about him being a game manager.
No, 30 touchdowns.
No, he didn't throw for 4,000 passing yards them first 3 seasons either.
Or 30 touchdowns.
Exactly. He was a game manager. Jalen Hurts didn't throw for 4,000 yards or 30 touchdowns yet either. But he got 700 rushing yards and 10 rushing touchdowns in those 2 seasons. So, you know what I mean? A game manager is a guy who just can manage the game. If you can manage the game and be a threat on the ground while hitting on your big throws, that's elite quarterback play.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Let's not make no mistake about this, man. Jalen Hurts is playing the game. Only one person is playing at a higher level than him last year, and that's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and that's why he was second team All-Pro over a lot of other quarterbacks. But I will just say this, right? Here's my biggest thing, right? Stats definitely define some of these quarterbacks, right? Not win, stats. And I understand it's a team game. However, Joe Burrow had better stats. Justin Herbert had better stats. Dak Prescott has had many years of better stats. Tom Brady had more yards, right? Kirk Cousins, more yards. All these quarterbacks I named, right? Jared Goff, more yards. But here's the thing. One drive, you score, you win. You don't score, you lose. Yards ain't going to save you on that drive. Throwing for 4K won't, but guess what will? A 20-yard pass down the seam to Dallas Goedert. 3 carries for 40 yards. Like a drive that says 20 yards of Goddard, 5 yards of Smitty, 30 yards of AJ, 40 yards on the ground, and maybe he finishes throwing it to touchdown or running the touchdown. But at the end of the day, he's finishing the job. Now we did.
Let's think about this. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll let you finish your point. Let's think about this for a second. That you made a great point, and it just clicked in my head. So you're talking about those last drives. He's a top 5 quarterback that I would want to have the ball in his hand with the game on the line. Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen is another one of those guys.
He's starting to scare me with the ball in his hand at the end.
Right, but this the thing though with Josh Allen. With Josh Allen, I feel like that he will do whatever it takes inside the 10. Much like Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen have no problem running through somebody to get a touchdown. You know what I mean?
He also might fumbled.
He also might. And you know, and the last guy, probably I want to say Joe Burrow. I've seen Joe Burrow have some exciting finishes. So I'm gonna go with Joe Burrow, man. Those are like the top 5 guys I would want to have the ball in my hand. And Jalen Hurts is there because he can kill you so many different ways. You can't run a QB sneak from the 1-yard line with everybody, just anybody. No, somebody gonna come up limping. Yeah. Jalen Hurts is not an issue with him. You know what I mean? The job is to score points. The job is to put your team in position to win, and that's what Jalen Hurts does in a multitude of ways.
And he's gonna grow in all the areas where we can say, okay, you know, sometimes you got to get the ball out faster. Sometimes again, there's times where maybe next year he keeps his eyes up and instead of a scramble, it's a deep throw. He's going to progress while already being good. But my main thing, right, is now I'm going to be talking about the stats this upcoming season because, again, I'm not saying our schedule's so hard that we should be scared. What I'm saying is to beat the Bills, to beat the Chiefs, to beat the Cowboys, to beat the Dolphins, to beat the Jets with the Aaron Rodgers, to beat the Niners. Well, maybe not the Niners because that might be a dogfight like defensively. But you're going to have to put up 35 points at least 6 times this season. You're going to need to put up 35 points a handful of times. You're not going to be resting Jalen Hurts 3 times this season in the fourth quarter. He's right. And again, 3 fourth quarters he missed by resting. 2 games he was injured, right? But the stats are going to be here because we're going to be scoring 35, but we did score 35 last year. But this is the thing. Jalen Hurts does it in the first half, and our running backs do it in the second half. We're going to run the ball. We're going to do this stuff, but Jalen Hurts is going to be playing fourth quarters a lot more seriously. There are going to be more passes in the fourth quarter this year than last, and that's going to bring the stats up. I saw Dak Prescott one time throw a touchdown on a 1-yard line with 2 minutes left with a double-digit lead.
That's stat pattern. You know what I mean? It probably was that season where they said he had 37 touchdowns.
No, it was last year. It was last year against the Lions. It was first game back.
And you know, right, a feel-good game. And you know, I'm really starting to not like the whole statistical conversation anymore. Like the stats are just a mess. Like, you know, I understand that some guys live off stats, but I had a guy tell me on Twitter that we were talking about. I was telling him like, listen, Dak been in the league 8 years. He got to do something. You know what I mean? He got to do something. This dude going to tell me, Peyton Manning, he ain't win his first Super Bowl to his 8th year. But I'm like, bro, Peyton Manning was an MVP like year 5. Like, this is 2 different caliber of players. Well, Dak 37 touchdown season was statistically better than Peyton Manning MVP season. It's like, bro, man, the statistic game is like weird. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's weird. And, you know, impact means much more than statistics, in my opinion. The stats are good if you're winning with getting these great stats, but Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins got good stats. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's so many great stats guys out here. Stats only matter in terms of skill players. You know what I mean? That's how they get paid. Quarterbacks got to start winning at some point.
Correct. And again, there's other quarterbacks that we could talk about like that. And again, I think this season is going to be interesting for the NFC East in general. For the NFL, I think that, you know, people want to say that the AFC is way more dominant with the quarterbacks and their teams, and it might be right. But I do think there's some teams in the NFC that is being slept on. Like, you know, Seattle might come up a little bit better. The Lions might be better than we thought. And listen, Jared Goff had a pretty darn solid season last year, and it wasn't him and the offense that let that Lions team down. They were getting dropped 40 pieces on them left and right. So I think the NFC is going to surprise people as it pertains to how tough they are. And, I think still the Cowboys are one of the best teams in the NFC. I still think it's the Eagles, the Niners, the Cowboys. They're the three juggernauts, but don't be surprised of Seattle. Don't be surprised of the Lions. Don't be surprised of the Rams if all healthy. The Bears
might make some noise.
They did everything that we did for Jalen Hurts, the Bears just did for Justin Fields. Now, can he make the Jalen Hurts jump? I don't know, and I don't really care. But the Bears went all in. They gave him offensive line help. They got what does he got? DJ Moore, Claypool, and Mooney.
Yeah, that's solid. That's solid. That's real solid right there. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's all about this year. Got to be a lot of teams this year are looking for guys to take the next step. I think Tua got to take a next step. You know what I mean? Daniel Jones, he has to take another step. You know what I mean? Because that ain't good enough, clearly. Who else I'm thinking of? They got to take another step. Fields got to take a step. So the NFC is definitely, the success of the NFC is more predicated on quarterbacks taking that
young
next
quarterbacks,
step.
Yeah.
Right. The AFC, they guys are just already like solidified. So you know
Pretty
what I mean?
much.
So I think they got the better quarterbacks.
Yeah, they definitely got the better quarterbacks. I mean, they got the best quarterback. And as much as I love Jalen Hurts, you're never going to hear me say that Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Pat Mahomes. Not yet. Maybe there's a day where that happens. And again, we factor in Jalen Hurts, the player, not just Jalen Hurts, the passer. And that's where people just don't really want to credit him for what he does and how we can do it in a multitude of ways. But like the way that Patrick Mahomes plays this early and this, like, again, we know who the GOAT is, right? Like there's that conversation of like before Pat Mahomes, a lot of people were saying Aaron Rodgers, the best thrower of a football, Tom Brady, the best quarterback, right? Because they're two different things, right? Brady can throw a beautiful ball. He does everything right. But like Rodgers has some things where like, this is not real. This is video game type stuff. Pat Mahomes is literally a video game thrower. Like he just be he's just crazy.
It's different. If Pat Mahomes don't have no type of injury, Pat Mahomes will end up breaking like a lot of records, passing yard wise, all type of stuff, man.
And what I love about his game is he can run a little bit too. He doesn't do it a lot because listen, you know what? The best thrower of the football in the NFL didn't beat us with his arm in the Super Bowl. The biggest play he made was that big scamper.
Those timely escape the pocket runs that you're not expecting, man.
But wait, what was that last one? On the last drive, after Jalen bleeping Hurts scored a touchdown, rushed it in for 2 to tie the game up with 3 guys on his back. That was like a 25-yard scamper when
it was like I think it was like a 2nd and 13. He ended up running for like 25 yards. They were behind the chains and everything, bro. He got up out of there. And every time I look at that clip, all I see is Jordan Davis just getting blocked one-on-one. just getting held up, bro. Like he was just gassed. Like he didn't even try. Man, that's the worst. That clip gave me nightmares from the Super Bowl. But yeah, you know what I mean? It is what it is, though. They got the talent over there for sure. And we got the guys that need to, improve. I feel like, I feel like it's kind of lopsided as far as elite talent. When you talk about most of the elite guys, they're over there. You keep forgetting about Lamar, who just got paid. Trevor Lawrence will be a top 3 guy over here. That's how lopsided it is.
And listen, Lawrence is a guy who I think took a huge step last year. I saw him throw the ball really nice. Did some things. But like I said, don't be surprised if Geno keeps playing good, he'll get some good stats, and Seattle will be good. Matthew Stafford, we know he's an up and down, is all about being healthy. Matthew Stafford can sling the rock a little bit, So I just think that the way people are looking at the NFC and just discredit it as a whole, I think there's going to be some shockers. Right.
And it's the thing with that, though. You can't discredit. See, it's so weird now that I'm thinking about it. We got the young guys and we got the unproven mid-tier guys. Think about it. You got Dak, you got Derek Carr, you got Kirk Cousins. Nobody respects them. Kyler Murray is slipping into being those guys as well. So you got 5 guys who are just basically, and they're starters in the NFC, basically just mid and unproven. Then you got the young guys. This is what I don't want to happen with the quarterback situation in the NFC. I don't want people to think that because Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the NFC, it's solely because the rest of the guys haven't lived up to their potential.
Yeah.
That's on them. It's a lot of, it's a lot of quarterbacks who have great statistical, regular seasons, but they're just not good in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But, Jalen Hurts has definitely separated himself in an entire conference, and that's impressive no matter how you spin it.
So couple more things before we get out of here. I put a poll up before we went live. And the poll is interesting, and I want to hear what you said. And I wrote it wrong, so some people are confused by it. But I'm surprised. I'm gonna tell you. I want to hear your answer first. Chat. I want you guys to pick your answer in the chat. I'm gonna try to read a couple off, and then I'm gonna let you know what the poll said. Who gets the first sack between Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith? Who's the Philly dog drafted this year on the line that gets their first sack?
Nolan Smith.
That's what the poll said. The poll is 56% Nolan and 44% Jalen, and that's 718 votes. It's only been about 45, 50 minutes since we've been on here, but I'm surprised. I thought I'm a Nolan guy, so I think I'll go Nolan too, but I thought people would say Jalen Carter more.
No, but this the thing. A lot of our edge guys 8, BG 10 sacks, Reddick 10 plus, Sweat 10 plus. That pressure helps those guys eat, man. So I think Jalen Carter's impact will be felt more, but I think the stats and all that cherry picking, the loose balls and strips, I think Nolan Smith going to be, a beneficiary of a lot of that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying who has more sacks. I'm just saying who gets the first sack first. Right. And the thing is this, though, I thought people would leave more to Jalen Carter because, if I had to guess, right? Week 1, Nolan Smith plays 22 snaps. Jalen Carter plays 38 snaps. So I just think he has more opportunities, but I'm a Nolan guy and I believe he's going to create. So I would have went Nolan, but I would have thought you, and I would have thought the general Eagle fan would have picked Jalen, but I was surprised.
I'm going Nolan, bro. I'm liking him more and more. I didn't want him on draft day, so I'm not going to act like
you kept throwing shots at me a little, not shots, because we just talked, but you were like I think we did a live stream before the draft, and you were like, I don't know about Nolan, and then as much as we kept saying Nolan and who was the cornerback again?
Ringo?
No, the cornerback that we wanted from Alabama. I can't think of his name. The guy from the slot that we were going to put at safety.
Oh, he wasn't from Alabama. No, he was from Branch.
Yeah. When he was Nolan or Branch. Right. No, and you kept leaning towards Branch, and then you were like, I like Nolan, but he's a little small. You know what I mean? So,
bro, then I seen the pictures you've been posting. My man had that Popeye spinach. So listen, I'm on a Nolan train, bro. Listen, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Spicy, right?
Spicy, bro. Mike, and this is why I can jump back on the train. You know what I mean? Because the season ain't start. So you could do all your flip flopping right now, but draft night, I wasn't with it. Draft night, I wasn't with it. Draft night. I ain't gonna lie.
And maybe the reason they're picking Nolan is because for the picture I put him in, I put the Popeye spinach picture, so it just looks like you got to pick him on that one.
You just got to.
But yo, I'm so excited for the season, and I truly believe it's the running back season. It is very hard to do. It's not easy. But man, I don't see a losing Super Bowl team retool the way we just did, man. Just the way we came off of replacing everybody. Everybody we lost, we kind of just took it a step up higher.
Bro, this is the thing, bro. If we get back there, we gonna win. Oh, and I'm telling you, we're going to be back there within the next 2 years. If you get back there, you're going to win, bro.
Let me ask you
this.
No way. And again, the AFC is filled. But would you be, if you could not pick, because of course the best team in the AFC is going to be the one that plays the Super Bowl, right? But would you be more happy right now if it was the Eagles and another team in the AFC, or if we rematch the Super Bowl?
Bruh, we could beat everybody in the AFC. The only person that gives me a problem is Patrick Mahomes. We would have killed Josh Allen. We would have killed Burrow. Oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No. Listen, they wouldn't have beat us.
That field was disgusting, though.
The field was trash. The field was trash. You know what I mean? Josh, we could beat up on every quarterback in the National Football League. Patrick Mahomes is just different. He gives you a chance to win, like without a shadow of a doubt. That's the reason why I didn't bet on the Super Bowl, because it was against Patrick Mahomes. If it was Josh Allen, bro, I would have put everything up. I'd have put it up, Mike. I'd have put it up. Mike, I'd have put. If it was Josh Allen on everything, I was putting 80 up. I was putting 80 racks up on the Eagles winning. But Patrick Mahomes is Patrick, bro. He out there. You seen him out there, bro? Frolicking around, not even running hard.
Yo,
he
he
just
really
found
beat
some way
us
to beat you, bro.
on one leg, bro. Like, look,
Bro.
I'm not gonna lie. When he got hurt, I was sad for him. Listen. I do this for everybody. It could be a Giants player, a Commanders, a Cowboys player. When we live on YouTube, when the game's going, if somebody gets hurt, it's a full 60 seconds of prayers in the chat. It could be the team I hate the most, the Cowboys. It's prayers in the chat. But a little piece of me was just like, let him miss a couple plays, bro. Let him miss a couple plays.
It's a Super Bowl. I'm gonna keep it
in the chat for him.
I'm gonna keep it a beam. I'm gonna keep it a beam, Mike. Listen. I wasn't like, yes, you know what I mean? I wasn't wishing on that man downfall, Mike. But when Patrick Mahomes was gimpy at halftime, Mike, I was like, it's done.
That's what
it's done. Go to the back and ice up, bro. Don't come back out here, bro. Then he come back, bro. I was oh my God. Bruh. I was relieved. Like,
it was over. We had a 10-point lead. We had a 10-point lead. And look, he wasn't just gimpy. You saw his face on the sideline.
Yeah,
he was in pain.
He was in pain. And that is Patrick Mahomes.
He's a monster.
Bro. Like I said, I want to reiterate. I wasn't happy that man was limpy or hurt or nothing like that. But man, listen, I wasn't happy Purdy was hurt either. But sometimes you gotta take somebody out, bro. You feel me, Mike? If somebody get taken out, that's the battle. That's the battle that we in. And yo, man. Yeah, I was trying to have a good day. We talking about this damn Super Bowl.
I know. I hate bringing up a Super Bowl, but that was my exact reaction. I was like, so I'm like this. I'm watching. I'm like, okay, TJ Edwards with the shoestring. Mahomes is hurt. I'm all like, prayers in the chat. But I'm like, yo, this over. If he's out, it's over.
Right. It's hunting season, bro. Send the dogs. It's hunting season. But they got through it, man. They pulled through. They gave us the taste of defeat. But this is what I do know, bro. If we go back to the NFC Championship, we're going back to the Super Bowl. If we go back to the Super Bowl, we win in the Super Bowl. And this team is going to the NFC Championship, I feel like. I hate to say Super Bowl, but we going to the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody in it, bro. The Dallas Cowboys will have to meet us at the altar for it to be some type of competition and within the playoffs for us, bro. Being as though that's very, very rare. You know what I mean? I'm not really worrying about nobody in the NFC. All we got to do is get to the playoffs. We could smoke everybody in the NFC.
I don't see a scenario because I do think that the Cowboys are going to win double-digit games. I don't see a scenario where we play the Cowboys anywhere but the NFC Championship game if they could, if they can come through. I totally agree. I don't like to say early in the season Super Bowl. I never claim it's a Super Bowl season, but coming off a Super Bowl, doing what we did, that's why I don't even say we're going right back. I'm calling it the running back season. Take that for what you want. My whole storyline this offseason is the run it back season. But playoffs, no question. And again, if we get in the playoffs the way we did last year as the number one spot, remember back in the old days, 2 teams used to get bye weeks. Now there's an extra team in the playoffs and only 1 team gets the bye. But man, when you get that bye, all you got to do is win 2 games. You get the bye, you win 2 games, and you're back in the big one.
Yeah, so we'll see how this pans out, man. I can't wait to hear what happens, from the rest of the guys' practices and things of that nature. But yeah, man, it's gearing up, man. It's getting close. I think we're under 100 days away from kickoff.
Yeah, under 100 days. Listen, make sure you hit that like button wherever you're watching. Subscribe to LB's channel, Lord Brunson.
Yes, sir.
Philly Mike. You can type it in the search bar. Hit that like where you're watching. You got anything you got coming up this week or anything you want to talk about?
No, just be mindful. We're going to do our top 10 wide receivers list. People going to be mad. People going to be sad. But the list is coming out. God damn it. The list is coming out. I'm thinking of making one change. If anybody could guess the change that I'm trying to make, I'll give them some free merch. It's a crazy. Listen. It's a crazy. It's crazy. But I'm thinking of one change. Just guess the player I'm thinking about removing. If you can get that right, somebody probably gonna get it.
Somebody probably gonna get it right. And definitely check the comment section after this video. But again, yeah, that's all we really got. Quick super chat. Furman F with the $5 super chat. We appreciate it. He said, I'm telling you guys, they don't want to play us again. We're going to crack them. They are scared of us. We really had them. The field was horrible, I swear.
Yeah,
like I said,
man.
Because listen, oh man.
Right, you seen it?
Drew.
No, it's two people. It's two people at once, dog.
Oh yeah, two. Dang. Yeah, but
damn. Who was AC and Drew? See, come on, bro, because y'all know, bro. Come on, man. That was some cheating stuff. DM me, dog.
And
DM me at Lord_Brunson.
Yeah, AC got it first. It was close, but they were right next to each other. But AC got it first. That being said, well, man, just to say this before we get off, when I watch them Super Bowl highlights still, which I don't do often, the way the game is going, like I feel like we have a chance to win. Like I know it's already set in stone. We lost, but the way the game's going, you can't tell the Eagles are gonna lose until they lose. You know what I mean?
No,
like
facts.
We had everything going.
I mean, it was like I'm not trying to make it seem like it was like a good loss. There's no such thing as that. But it's like, bro, the way we lost, and just how much of it wasn't because of the quarterback and how your quarterback performed under them bright lights. You went into a season not knowing if he was the guy. The season ended with him tying the game up in the Super Bowl and never getting the ball back. That's crazy, bro. It was a crazy roller coaster ride of a season. One of the greatest seasons ever. Unfortunately, we fell short.
22 birds.
22 birds, man.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. But hey, listen, we did an hour and 2 minutes on our Saturday. Listen, go grill some food out. It's probably nice where y'all at. It's nice over here. Enjoy the nice weather. Enjoy the weekend. Until next time, y'all know what time it is. We out.
Peace.